Alright, and we are officially underway, at least according to RaceBot.
Best wishes to both runners. I know both had pretty big ambitions going into this tournament, and I think they've both done very well. Getting this far, at least, as well, is very impressive.
So as of the start of this match, I believe we've got 16 runners still currently in the tournament, is that correct?
Let me check. I think after this match there'll be 13. I've just got the text document up here.
Ah.
So we are getting down pretty quickly. This is match 69 out of 84. Chuckles. But yeah, we are nearly there. So I think one of the interesting things off the bat will be seeing if either players have any nerves. That usually will get revealed in the likes of Y3. Should be no problem for either, but nerves can sometimes affect your muscle memory at times. Overthinking.
Absolutely. I think both of these runners are experienced enough that there shouldn't be any difficulties, but stranger things certainly have happened.
Looking pretty comfortable so far. Again, just as you said, there shouldn't be any issues at all, but it is possible to overthink these things and really get in your own head too much and make a mistake, and it can be very costly as well.
Yep, just very, very minor difference in time at the end of that level, with Storster ending on a 2:58 and Zero ending on a 2:59, but one in-game second, of course, is no big deal whatsoever.
Absolutely, getting the 2:59 isn't much of an ask, but if you don't get it, it really isn't an issue at all. Seems like neither player attempted the shell jump. It is possible sometimes that you won't even get the turnaround, but it looks like just playing it pretty reasonably.
Very nice movement so far through World 1 from both runners.
I suppose
see how the castle treats them.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting there.
So we had a 281 door from Zero and a 279 door from Storster. So again, just a couple in-game seconds.
281 is pretty good, I have to admit, especially in a tournament where you're not going to be going for really crazy strats. 279 on the lower end of it, but still not really a major difference.
So both runners making very short work of Iggy. Looks like we've got just a couple second difference so far, so still plenty of race to go. Lots of time. No worries at all yet for either runner.
Yeah, it usually starts to heat up in World 2. The S1 has been a point of concern for a couple of people losing capes. Oh, also, we are actually in the semi-finals at the moment, with just a couple of matches for the loser bracket to catch up. You know, just so they're running simultaneously.
So not much to say about this level. Really, the only thing you want to keep an eye out for is making sure you're high enough at the end of the level to make it over the top of that pipe, so you can grab the key. Oh, Zero just having a little mishap with the key there, but quickly turns around, grabs it, puts the key in the hole, no problem at all.
At this point, both runners are basically tied. Zero did have a marginal lead over Storster, but that seems to have brought it back.
Also, yes, they seem to be...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So slightly iffy dark room from Zero. Again, still managing to grab that shell, which is important. Doesn't pick up the P-switch either, that's interesting. So making that the end of this level just a little more difficult. No issues whatsoever though.
Nope. Once again, we're just seeing tiny insignificant differences in the in terms of just a couple in-game seconds here and there between both runners so far.
Something I was going to mention earlier, upon starting this race, I actually think Zero might have started his timer after hitting player 1, so I'm not sure if I just imagined that or whether it's something that we'll need reviewed. Usually the races aren't within like 5 seconds of each other, so it's pretty clear. Got 2 more flyover levels. This one is slightly more interesting in the sense that this very starting part isn't completely free, and as I say that, Storster actually misses it.
Good recovery from Storster.
Nice
Didn't panic, just took it nice and safe, did not panic at all, and quickly got flight speed back. So he is, despite a little bit of maybe jitters early on in the level, he is right back in shape.
I'm not sure if people will agree with me, but I think we have the ingredients for a very, very interesting match. I just have a feeling this one's going to be one to remember. Again, both have pretty big ambitions going into this race, so that can affect things at times and can produce some pretty interesting results as well. Both very much wanting to win this one.
Absolutely, especially considering that this is an elimination race. Both of these racers have lost one match prior to this. Obviously, neither racer wants to be knocked out here. They both won it. And I agree, I think this will produce an interesting race. If what we've seen so far is any indication, this should be very close.
It'll also be interesting to see whether either runner is watching the restream. Often that can produce nerves for people, but I would always recommend at least checking in with it just to know what you need to be doing in a race in terms of strats. Nice room 1 for Storster. Actually bonked there, but managed to keep his speed at the top.
Let's see how vertical fly in room 3 here treats our runners today. Both runners grabbing the springboard, no problem at all. That will help them save that cycle up at the top here.
Storster played it slightly safe there, a reasonable enough decision, but Zero did save 1 in-game second over Storster because of that. Very well done.
Yep, interesting to see that just like previous levels, where the difference separating these runners is tiny. I really hope that this continues throughout the rest of the race. I would really like to see this this race come down right to the wire.
Again, I have a feeling that might be the case. The only thing that might spoil that would be Force of Illusion. That has decided, or Force of Illusion in general tends to decide races. Hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be close as you say. Wow, this is exactly tied. Well, pretty much exactly tied. Getting up.
Very nice Vanilla Dome 1. Very nice from both runners. Very small difference in strats from the runners in this level, in terms right at the beginning of how they set up to achieve their initial P speed.
That was really nice from Storster. Also from Zero, just having a couple of issues with those springboards, or I forget what you call them. I think they're, I don't know, they're annoying anyway.
So we're heading into a couple flyover levels here again. So not a whole lot of room for optimization in these levels. The biggest thing that you can do to help yourself out just a little bit is to try and get fast flight in these levels. And all that will really do is save you 1 to 2 in-game seconds. So again, not much of a time save, but every little bit counts. Okay. So we saw 263 from both runners in that level, so both of them actually achieving fast flight. So no gains, no losses in that level, but very nice from both runners. So we've got another flyover level here, flying over top of these jumping, leaping dolphins. We'll see if both runners are able to spot fast fly again. And we'll see what times they end up with here. So Storster came out just slightly faster in that level, getting a 267 as opposed to Zero's 266, so just slightly faster flight for Storster in that level. Heading into the Fortress now, we'll see how Reznor treats our runners today. We have seen some unfortunate luck with Reznor for several runners actually in this tournament. Can at times be very unforgiving with fireballs. So hopefully neither runner will have difficulty here, but we will soon see.
Yeah, unfortunately Reznor did sort of cause the demise of our #1 seed. It's very unfortunate, and that there can cost up to about 2 minutes almost, so very unforgiving.
Yeah, this is a particularly painful level to take a death in, especially when it happens right at the end and you have to repeat this entire swimming level. It's quite frustrating. Ooh, Storster did take a little bit of a hit trying to achieve the quick kill on Reznor. Was able to salvage the Fire Flower though, so assuming he can keep that until Castle 4, we'll still have Fire versus Ludwig. Zero on the other hand, no issues with the quick kill. Nice clean kill on Reznor there. So making up a little bit of time against Storster at this point.
Yep, we'll definitely be ahead by a couple of seconds now.
So there's about a 7-second difference right now.
Yep.
So heading through Butterbridge 1, which is an auto-scroller, it is certainly no walk in the park though. We have seen runners have issues and take deaths here, unfortunately, in the past. We will see how this goes. While they're working their way through this auto-scroller, just like to mention that this tournament, again, is the No Starworld Tournament in memory of Electric Fish Tank, one of the members of the Super Mario World community who sadly passed away. This tournament is being held in his memory. One of the things that is going along with that is there has been a donation set up for a scholarship at his former high school for a student in the music department. So it would be fantastic if anyone has some money to donate towards that cause. It's a very good cause, and really every little bit helps. So even if it's only a couple bucks here or there, please donate. Every little bit helps and is very, very much appreciated. Both runners now wrapping up with Butterbridge 1. And now that the auto-scroller is out of the way, we are back onto another flyover level with Butterbridge 2. So again, we may see those slight variances in flight speed come into play here. One thing to watch out for in this level as well is you have to make sure you're high enough here. There are some swooping Super Koopas that will fly relatively high, actually, in the level, and can take you out if you're not paying attention. So we had a 263 there from Zero, so he did have fast flight through that level, very nicely done, and a 262 from Storster. So that is a not fast fly, but also not a slow fly. Good solid middle flight speed there. Zero getting a little bit caught up on the wall in the first room, but makes it through unscathed. So Zero opting for flight strats through this room here. Storster, unfortunately, does take a hit, loses both power-ups. That's very unfortunate.
That is pretty unfortunate to see, especially considering the Fireflower strats are normally for safety, and it is sad to see that not pay off.
So quick Ludwig kill from Zero. He will wrap up at about 16-19. Storster unfortunately will have to do the full fight, although we will see if he gets a cycle skip by hitting Ludwig in midair, and does get cycle skip, very nicely done. And Storster wrapping up at 16:38. So while we're in the cutscene here, as mentioned in chat, the Electric Fish Tank Scholarship that I mentioned that donations are available toward is currently sitting at 447 out of the target goal of $500. So very close, and any help to help achieve that goal is very much appreciated.
Also, any donations that are made, any comments attached can be read out. That's totally up to you. Normally we have a bot set up just this evening. We're having a couple of issues with it, so that will be back for the next restream.
So Storster having to take this slightly safer because he doesn't have the cape, but so far grabbing Yoshi and working his way through the level without too much difficulty. I imagine we'll see him pick up a flower, or I'm sorry, not a flower, a cape here. Unfortunately, does lose Yoshi in the process of doing that. So that's unfortunate. If he wants to do clips in the next level, he will have to re-enter this level and grab another Yoshi. So in the meantime, let's see over here on zer0mavrick's screen, let's see how clips treat him. Does unfortunately get kicked out of the wall in his first attempt. Just misses the corner on his second attempt, will have to wait another cycle. So this is giving Storster a little bit of an opportunity to try and catch up here. Ooh, Zero unfortunately getting RNG'd out again.
Yeah.
Looks like he's now opting to just head on and do easy clip further on in the level.
It's providing Storster quite an opportunity here if he gets this first try. I know it's something he's very consistent at, so wishing him good execution and good luck.
Very nicely done from Storster. Does get in on the first try. So things have gotten very interesting suddenly here again. So coming out of this level, this is going to be very, very close. 1925 for both runners exiting this level. We are dead even right now.
Now the only advantage that Zero has is the fact that he's got his Fireflower. If he manages to keep that to the end of Castle 5, will gain about another 8 seconds, but after that, the Fireflower is useless. For the most part. Also, I just want to thank Hendrix for donating $3. His comment is, great people doing great things, glad to support it, and I really appreciate the support, so thank you so much for that.
Agreed, thank you very much.
Very, very generous. So yeah, thank you.
With that donation, that puts us within $50 of the final goal, so thank you very much.
Again, as mentioned earlier with the bot, the total will be displayed on the next restream as well. We were just having a couple of issues with that, but that can be, donations can be viewed in the Discord as well. Pretty big moment coming up here. Castle 5 can be pretty scary.
This certainly can make or break races. Ooh, Zero cutting it a little closer than I would be normally comfortable with, but both runners do make it through okay.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
A little turn back from Zero just to grab the fire flower there, but that's not a big deal. So Zero will just be a couple of seconds ahead here. This is unbelievable how close this race is.
Yeah, I think we're within 2 seconds, which is just crazy. It really, really is, especially out of World 4, given the lead that he had, but 30 seconds really isn't much going into Forest of Illusion. Very, very difficult world.
Absolutely. We've seen numerous times this tournament. Clips are the great equalizer. I'm just going to look at the timings here on Castle Crush. 43 versus a 44, so we've got 1 second apart right now. We'll see if either one opts to go for Pipe Fly here in Chocolate Island 1. So it looks like Storster is going to attempt Pipe Fly here. Zero just opting for safer strats, going to fly over. I believe Storster got Pipe Fly. Yes, he did. So he will have a slight edge in terms of speed here. We'll see if either runner opts to grab Unicape at the end. Nice little cape parade from Storster. Can we get some Nala Smug in chat? This is actually very interesting. This is, I think, the first race I've seen this tournament where both runners have opted to do spin fly strats in room 1 of Chocolate Ghost House.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that earlier. I was thinking, yeah, this probably will be the first race I've seen this into. I know they both do it.
Nice clean execution from both runners, though, able to avoid that fish and boo. Again, we had just 1 in-game second difference between the runners out of that level. So we'll see if we see any Yoshi strats here, or if both runners will opt to go just with Cape. And it looks like that will be the case. So no Yoshi. We're just going to see some straight-ahead Cape play from here on out. So both runners finishing that level at 268. So again, still neck and neck. Room 1 of Chocolate Secret can sometimes be a little bit problematic for runners. So we'll see how this room treats both of our runners here. So Storster getting through just a little bit more quickly than Zero. Zero took a little bit of a bounce off of one of the chucks in that room. Both runners do get P speed for the descent in room 2 here. And slightly different strats in room 3 as well, with Zero taking it just a little bit safer. Doing the back and forth flight as opposed to Storster, who bounced off of the spinies and got P-speed that way. So we have a question from chat. In the case of a close tie, do you use screen time or race chat, whatever it's called, time? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in the case of a close tie, I believe both runs are retimed, correct?
Yeah, I was just about to type there. If it's within 5 seconds, I would go back and just double check on the VOD. It would always be split time, but if it's any closer than that, generally speaking, within about 5 seconds, I will retime it.
So both runners executing nicely so far, both getting Crusher Skip in room 1 of Wendy's Castle here.
But I was going to mention that because so far this is looks like it's probably going to be quite close. Ooh.
Storster cutting it a little close there with the cycle, but does manage to make it through.
I'll be honest, I wasn't fully confident there. I was a bit scared for just a moment. I was also going to say that Storster...
Unlucky for Zero with that Wendy spawn. I apologize for cutting you off there.
No, that's fine. It was pretty unfortunate. It was worth mentioning. But room 2 is something that, just based on my experience of watching and racing Storster, something that he's got down quite well. So he might be a little disappointed, but still maintains that lead as a better lead now previously. So.
Yep, current lead is sitting at about 6 seconds in the favor of Storster. So honestly, through 6 worlds of play, having this race be 6 seconds apart is astounding. Both runners are playing extremely well. So heading into Ghost Ship here, I believe we will see Zero pick up an extra cape for safety, which he does. And we will see how boomerangs treat our runners here.
Yeah, even though this is something a lot of people take for granted, it has cost a couple of pretty big time losses from people, so looks like Storster's lined up pretty well for it.
Storster, very nice, gets the scrollless despawn. D-boosts through that boomerang, no problem. Zero as well getting the scrollless despawn, so again, staying right neck and neck with each other.
So lag reduction is something that they'll both be trying here. Seems to be going pretty well for them.
Alright, we've got our first orb.
Yeah, normally it's not this close. I don't know why I find that so funny.
Alright, heading in the Valley of Bowser, which can be a very scary world, especially when the race is this close.
The hitboxes in these mega moves can be pretty unforgiving at times. We've seen a couple of pretty big accidents from people, but both seem to be handling pretty well at the moment.
Agreed, so far so good from both runners. Looks like Storster will grab a box for the backup cape at the end of the level.
Zero
good call, certainly does.
Zero played it very risky there. He risked losing his cape twice there. You're wanting a damage boost through those guys if possible, or sorry, not damage boost, invincibility boost through those guys. Damn, this is so close. I assume we won't be seeing a sandbar from either player. I know that both had practiced it in the event it was needed, but yeah, this is really starting to get quite exciting.
I would be very surprised to see a sandbar from either player. Zero, maybe. Oh no, he didn't. He didn't go for it. He had me excited there, though.
Both thankfully getting the cycle skip. Something that's quite easy, but again, is taken for granted. Storster actually died that way in his first race, so it was a tense moment seeing that cycle skip from him.
Death in this room is very costly, unfortunately, given that this is effectively an auto-scroller with how limited the movement is in this room. Having to do it over is quite painful.
Oh, it definitely gives me a scare every time I see people start ducking at the second half of that. You just want to hold right and run. It will work every time, but ducking and then unducking, that can cause deaths in really unfortunate ways. I think that happened to, well, one of the top seeds anyway.
So we've got currently a time difference of 8 seconds between the runners.
Nope, that's not rude to ask that.
So Storster just taking it a little bit safer through the first part of the fortress here. It looks like Zero is going to go for the faster but more dangerous strats. We'll see if this gamble pays off for him. It appears that it will. He's going to make up some time on Storster here.
Yeah, I know ahead of time that Storster said that if he was ahead, he would start taking it safe, but considering
very nasty.
Oh,
very nasty Reznor from both runners, actually. Zero does take a hit there. I don't believe Storster did, but I am not 100% certain of that.
He didn't know. He had a pretty good Reznor. I was just going to say, based on how close it was, if he's comfortable with that fast forward, which I know he is, probably wants to be doing it. This is incredibly tense. This could definitely need a retime just to make sure.
So we had a 3240 door entry from Storster, 3246 from Zero. So this is unbelievably close.
Also, shoutouts to Zero there. I am a big fan of that fly under just to that visor door there. It's pretty difficult, and you see it's barely any time as well.
So no problems for either runner through phase 1 of Cape Kill.
Media. Again, this is another thing that can be taken for granted. You know, people will have pretty strong muscle memory for this, but in a moment like this, it is quite easy just to think about it incorrectly and then make one mistake. It costs you like 40 seconds or something. It's pretty unforgiving at times.
That strat from Storster is always so scary.
Every time he does that, I'm like, oh no, he's messed up, and then that's his actual strat.
Ooh, I was a little worried he had lost the Mecha Koopa off the side of the screen there, but it does come back, thankfully.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was my cropping or what, but yeah, that was pretty close. Thankfully, the right-hand side of that screen seems to be a lot more lenient than the left, but still pretty close. Good fifth hit from Storster, very comfortable. I think that's definitely GG. Congrats, that's 34-36.
34-36 versus a 34-42.
We will retime that just in case, not like a frame by frame recount, but that is, I'm pretty comfortable that is a win for Storster. I think Zero might have started about a second late, but even with that, it's wow, 6 seconds. What the heck?
Also, Zero, that was a race PB by 25 seconds for zer0mavrick, so very well done.
Yeah, that was a really, really good race for both of them. I just want to check the bracket because just a bit curious.
34-42, is that, I can't recall if that's a PB or not for Zero.
Oh, no. Both have a 33. Yeah, that would be Zero's best race time. It is, very impressive. I think that actually ties my best race time as well. If I double check. Oh no, actually a bit better, but yeah, I don't have very many words for this.
Yeah, mid 34 from both runners is extremely impressive. Both of them played extremely well, and I mean, we got a close and really exciting race out of it. That was great. Gentlemen, welcome.
Wow.
I hate you, but I love you at the same time. That's all I have to say, Storster.
I think we both had our fair share of mistakes, and it definitely evened out.
Yeah, I was really hoping that you would do a sandbar clip.
No,
I wasn't gonna do it.
No,
I was hoping you would just die and be like, yes,
I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I said. I was just hoping. Didn't think you would.
Yeah, that was what I was hoping Aaron would do in my race against him. Unfortunately, my final race. Unfortunately, though, whenever you're racing against someone who just is going to hold that lead that they, like they should, it's pretty unfortunate. So I do agree with you there. You are just going to hope that the other guy is going to go for really, really crazy strats. But
yeah, no. After tilting in forest, I kind of just wanted to just finish it off.
The one thing I will say though is, if it wasn't for Weebly in that final fort, your decision to play it safe in Valley Fort might have actually, well, it wouldn't have cost you the match, but it definitely would have been a return. A really impressive fort from Zero. I was watching that thinking, this is definitely enough to tie it. Beat you by about 10 in-game seconds there going into the fight, so 10 in-game seconds, that's almost 6 seconds, which is the amount that it looks like you've won.
I just thought I had a comfortable enough lead. Even though it wasn't much, I thought I still had enough to just casually get it, and I guess I was able to, so.
No, well, again, if he didn't get unlucky with Buiwi, it actually...
did he lose a cape there?
Yeah.
It wasn't even that. He had a backup cape, but that fight cost him 6 seconds.
Yeah, the last
well, I guess I got lucky.
Last Boo was unfortunately pretty mean to both of you. It was just slightly meaner to Zero, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was very close to losing it too.
Yeah, I think with regards to that fight, you did get just slightly lucky. You might have still, marginally pulled it off, but anything within a second, especially if it's the same second, I mean, it's hard to know, but I would be in favor of not even a retime, but a rematch in that case. But it was pretty unfortunate what happened in Valley Fort, the Weebly. Again, a really, really nice level overall from Zero. So unfortunate what happened.
Yeah, then I got freaking RNG'd out. That was even worse. Or RNG'd out hard clip.
Yeah, the RNG luck on the hard clips was unfortunately pretty brutal today. So it was a little hard to watch, but it's great that you held it together for the rest of the run and executed very cleanly. And man, it produced one of the most exciting races I think we've seen in this tournament so far. So well done to both of you.
Thanks.
Agreed. How many times did Clip kick you out? You got in there once, like the third time, if I'm correct, yeah?
Well, if you're talking to me, I ended up going for easy. I was just...
Oh, no, I know that. The only issue, I actually didn't have time to mention it at that point, was after your second attempt at Clip, landing on the ground with Yoshi did affect your subpixel. Now, at that point, it is still 50-50. But very, very unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got really lucky there, so, like, please get in.
Well, you do get it about 2/3 of the time with the correct subpixels, so at least you didn't get really unlucky, which is the other thing. Yeah, it is a very tilt-worthy sort of thing whenever clips are acting like that, but unfortunately that's part of it.
Yeah, that's part of what makes Mario Mario.
Yeah, it happened to me as well in one of my previous races, which
It's
unfortunate. But yeah, it's been very, very impressive. Have you checked who you're going up against?
Rupert.
Rupert? Oh, I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, because he just did his match a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Well, I don't know what to say other than, well, it's been a complete pleasure commentating with Slice. This was your first time in this tournament, but absolute natural. It's very, very easy to commentate with you, so thank you very much for that.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks to both Zero and Storster for the great race. That was really, really privileged to be able to cast such an exciting race.
Agreed. I'm sure we'll have some rematches down the line.
I definitely want to rewatch that.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it. That I wasn't even really aware of how the race was going most of the time.
I was
I
unaware
just
for
had
part
my
of
roommate-
it.
I had my roommate tell me at Wendy's. I was like, just tell me at Wendy's if I'm ahead, if I'm behind.
At Wendy's,
and they're just like, you're like a second behind at Wendy's. I'm like, really? And like, has it been that crazy of a match?
Yeah, unfortunately, had you not got a bit unlucky with that Wendy fight, it would have been tied. The Wendy fight puts you about 6 seconds behind, but the fact that it was still so close is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
There were a couple of small things that happened that prevented that being basically a tie, so...
Yeah, it's all good.
I mean, when it gets that close, really any little thing could have put us the other way around. So, pretty weird to think about.
Yep, we saw lead changes back and forth actually quite a few times in the race, just by kind of a couple seconds here and a couple of seconds there. So I think when you guys go back and watch this, I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure I will. I'll watch it at work.
Well, that was match 69 out of 84. We are very, very close to completion. Another 15 matches, and it also seems that the grand final post-show, whatever you want to call it, that will be at the sort of later end of the voting. For the longest time, I had the ambitions to have it done by just before Christmas, but I think it makes a lot more sense just to have it at that slightly later date anyway, and like I say, people voted on it as well, which I'm quite glad. Again, it's a deadline we could still meet, but I think just take a couple of extra days just to... Another thing I'll mention just very quickly about that is I will be taking submissions from everyone and anybody who wants to say anything about the reason we're having this tournament. So anyway, I've spoken loads. If you guys want to say anything else, feel free. This is your time, obviously. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I was watching the restream off and on, and I was pretty on the edge of my feet, honestly. We did go back and forth. I felt like every other level we kind of traded positions, or like I lost a second, he lost a second, back and forth, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, you've been really consistent. Like this entire freaking race, you've had 34s. So yeah, I've been like terrified. You had me practicing more than probably anyone else that I've raced, because I knew that you were consistent. And I guess the practice, it definitely helped, but it's still...
Yeah, besides the first match where I just did really bad, this has been my worst time since, so... Yeah, and it's still pretty good time as well, so I really can't complain.
Yeah.
That was a really good race, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Didn't know I'd be getting this far, but I guess we are.
Our next race will be tomorrow. That's at, let me just do the conversions here, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I know that the person who's facing the winner of tomorrow's match, Weird Waldo, has offered an instant matchup after that. So we'll see if either agree to that. I'm hoping they do, just because that's a very, very hype scenario. Seeing two people race, and then the winner going on instantly playing their next matchup, that's, pretty exciting. So hopefully that will be the case. In terms of the losers bracket, we are an LR, we're basically an LR5, which is just 7 matches away from the losers final. So yeah. Coming here, please. Yeah, thanks to everybody. We're sorry, I just had some brain freeze there. We will send you guys over in the direction of some no cave action.
Calico, I'm guessing.
Oh, unfortunately, we're not blessed with Calico at the moment, but we do have the next best thing. Let me get this here.
Just before we wrap up quickly, I'd just like to give one more plug to the scholarship in memory of Electric Fish Tank. Thank you very much for the donations tonight. Please donate. We're only $50 away from the goal. So
That's awesome.
Any money that you can throw in that direction is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you for all the support so far. And additionally, please check out the runners from tonight. Please follow Zero and Storster. They're both great SMW runners.
Let me just get that link for you now. Something that might help you here is the link to the up there. That's just the link to the Discord. I'll get the donation link now. And there you go. There's something else. There's one other thing I was going to say, but I forgot. Anyway, thank you all so much again. We will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we might have a double matchup as well. Also, if you follow the SMW community Twitter, you'll get all the updates there as well. Is anyone else anything you'd like to say, or?
No, I think I'm pretty settled, and yeah, that was really good.
Well, congratulations both. I don't really consider Zero's race to be a loss, considering how close it was, just how good a time it was. Just very unfortunate that it happens to be that close. With a couple of things that happened as well. So, congrats to both of you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Later. Thanks for the restream, guys. And also, thanks for the race, Storster. I didn't think it was going to be that close. I thought you were...
2 close matches in a row, getting closer every time.
Looks like